Hello, and you're very welcome to another edition of the JMR podcast. And of course, this podcast is sponsored by OrgaRetro.com. Check the website out for all your retro gear needs. And tonight, guys, I have a special edition for you. It's a Castlerahan special. So tonight, I'm joined by Enda Flanagan, Sean Brady, and Ronan Flanagan. So, how's things, boys? All good?
All good, John. Yeah.
All good, John. Yeah.
Happy days, and a bit of good news. The restrictions are being eased, so I'll start with yourself there. Firstly, Enda, you're in good form. So how's tricks with you? How's life?
Yeah, good with me, John. Yeah, lucky enough to be working away down in Cavan General the whole time. So busy spot and kept going a bit of normality, and everyone's well at home, and it's all you can ask for, I suppose, at this moment in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And how have you found the last year and a bit with this COVID, with all that's been going on? I suppose today, as I said, there's a bit of good news, but how have you found it all, Andy, yourself personally?
Yeah, I suppose it's been a tough time for many, but for me, I suppose I'm lucky enough. I have, as I said, I have work to go to, I have family, everyone's well, friends are well, but I suppose sport-wise, football-wise, you do miss kind of, I suppose, the collective sessions big time, especially in the last 6 months since we played last championship. Definitely can't wait for Monday week to go back training. And I suppose just having the crack with the lads and getting back to what we know best and enjoying it.
Absolutely. And has it changed your perspective on much, End of your obviously, like, it was all unforeseen times and we couldn't meet our friends, we couldn't do anything at all really, End. So has it changed your mindset on a lot of stuff?
Well, I suppose it has a bit. I suppose you have to enjoy the time you have, and then again, when you're related to football, you only have that short space of time. Little did we know when we won the championship in 2019 that it like the last championship with a crowd at it, and so yeah, I suppose you have to enjoy the time you have, and the crowds that were there at the time, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll touch on yourself, Sean. How's tricks with you? How's life?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah. Yourself busy at work, and we had a little boy there about 8 weeks ago and stuff. So yeah, it's busy between family and work and everything. Yeah. But it's all good now, so it is.
Absolutely, and
good there's a bit more back to normality, I suppose, in a couple of weeks, and a bit of sport and all that kind of thing. Like, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I suppose how have you found the COVID and all, Sean, that everything goes with it? Like, how did you find, obviously, with yourself, your work and you've kids and everything goes with it, but how did you find it all for yourself personally?
Yeah. Like, look, I was lucky enough that I worked to go to and that. So from that perspective, that was good. And then I suppose we got to spend a bit of time with the kids where they might be in crash or whatever otherwise. So from that perspective as well, it was good, but yeah, definitely different. But yeah, I suppose different good as well as missing out on sport and other things in life as well. But yeah, no, look on the bright side of things, and hopefully this summer now will bring brighter times.
Definitely. I suppose to ask yourself, Ronan, I was chatting to you a couple of months ago. We had a good chat to really kickstart all this podcast. And how's everything with the kids? Are you still running away from them?
Yeah, no, all good, John. I wouldn't say run away from them, but no, it's great. Yeah, it's a busy house. They're definitely more than Sean is saying. They keep you entertained, and I suppose we're lucky to have this time with them. We're probably the lucky ones that we can actually spend time with our young kids and not have to send them to crash. So yeah, no, it's been great.
Yeah, definitely. So how's everything treating yourself? Obviously, teaching away. So how have you found it the last couple of weeks and months? Obviously, a couple more months you'll be off for the summer. So how have you found the last few weeks?
Yeah, no, it's been grand. I suppose it's been different again, John, because it's even been, I suppose, more strict than what it was like before maybe Christmas. You have, I suppose, everyone wearing masks as you expect. And teaching behind a mask isn't that easy. And you're trying to get your voice heard for maybe 24 or 28 people in a room, and you're obviously trying to hear them. I'm hard of hearing at the best of times, so it's definitely different. But we just get on what we have, and it's just great to be back, I suppose, interacting with both the teachers and the students.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt, without a doubt. And so, lads, we can touch on to what we all know about the football end of things. And obviously, I'll start with yourself first, Enda. You represented Cavan under 21s in 2014 and 2015. You represented Cavan at senior level in 2018 and 2019, and you had good success with the Cavan under 21s, winning an Ulster title in 2014, and then obviously heartbreak against the Dubs in the semi-final, which we all know about, unfortunately, still. But obviously, great times yourself representing Cavan, and under 21s was a great way to break onto the Cavan setup.
Yeah, John. Yeah, I played county minor as well, and I suppose that's all you want to do when you're whatever 10 or 11, 12 is put on a Cavan jersey. It's something I really enjoyed it on when we were minor level. I'll never forget the day we played Donegal in the first round of championship. It felt like the game was only 5 minutes on. The game was over. We didn't get a sniff of it, so it really woke you up to inter-county football. And then going in on the 21 level, I remember I was doing my leaving cert, and I wasn't. Maybe my parents wouldn't let me in for the 2013 under 21 championship, I think it was, and one Ulster. I thought I was after missing out. And then, as first year in college, I played at the 2014. Very lucky to be surrounded by going into a camp that was so well set up, and such class players as well in it. I suppose we had Peter Riley, and he was leading the charge, and Joe McCarthy, rest in peace. What a man he was. He knew everything about every player and every player we were going to play against. And I suppose Peter Donnelly was there, strength and conditioning. He was top class as well. So we were very lucky. But I'll never forget that night in the athletic grounds in Armagh when the referee blew the whistle after the win. It was mental people on the pitch. It was just one of the best feelings, definitely. And you didn't know what to do, where to go, but it was just class. And unfortunately, we had to play. I think it was the week after it against Dublin in Portlaoise. We didn't, I suppose, get too much time to celebrate it. And then I suppose the week after was just pure heartbreak. I didn't leave. I was in that flat in Dublin with a few lads in college, and they couldn't leave the house for 4 or 5 days after. I was just pure sick. But again, you look back now, and it was great to win an Ulster Championship. And then the following year, 2015, I was lucky enough to captain the team, I suppose, and we played Donegal in the first round. We thought everyone was going well. As I said, Joe would have and Peter would have every player matched to the best of their ability, and we knew everything about the opposite team. And we were going up. I think we were 2 points up, but I'd say time was up. And big ball into Hugh McFadden. I think he panned down to Ryan McHugh and back of the net. And that was probably one of the biggest heartbreaks of all, because they went on and I think they lost Throwaway a pint in the final, and Tyrone went on to win the All Ireland, and that was definitely one that got away. I felt anyway. Yeah, and that was under 21s, and then I suppose I thought it'd be an easy transition for me straight into senior football after under 21, but unfortunately it wasn't at the time. But probably done me the world of good because I needed time to develop and stuff like that. And lucky enough, Matt McLean came along. He called me in 2018, and lucky enough, I suppose I got on the pitch, and I think I played every game. I was lucky enough, and we got to a league final playing Croke Park. Again, we lost to Roscommon, unfortunately, and then we lost out in the first round, all right, to Donegal in the championship, and we won a few backdoor games and lost to Tyrone. Definitely a year I look back on fondly. Really enjoyed it, and Matt was I thought was top class with us. And then in 2019 I was called in late, and I got an injury before the first round against Monaghan, and I kind of probably didn't give myself a chance to get in and get a game that year, unfortunately. And yes, that's the way it ended up there in 2019.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose in 2014, Enda, you tagged on that like an Ulster Championship, and that was obviously probably the end of that kind of win and run for that under 21 team. But what was it like to win that under 21 title in 2014, Enda? Because a seriously strong Cavan team that we had, great excitement down in the athletic grounds, basically our second home at this stage, Enda. So a special night for Cavan football.
Definitely, because I remember myself going with, I think it was Ronan Flanagan over to watch could have been on the 12 or the 2012 and 2013 finals. It was my own brother Fergie played, and I think it was going to be the first or the second one, maybe 2011. And so that's all people were doing. I think it was a Wednesday night the games were on. It was just class to be able to go on a Wednesday night up to Enniskillen or Athletic Grounds to watch Cavan play in Ulster finds that people weren't used to. I suppose I didn't get them times since '97. But yeah, as I said, our team was just so easy to play on because everyone knew what they were doing. Everyone was so well set up, and we were surrounded by top class players. A lot of senior players were playing with us as well at the time, so I said it was an easy transition when going into the squad.
Yeah. And did you kind of feel in 2015, and obviously yourself being captain, did you feel a kind of added pressure? Because obviously we wanted to kind of keep that winning culture and kind of establish, and we probably haven't won an under-21 title since. So what maybe do you feel has been the problem in the 2020s and 21s grade in the last couple of years, Enda?
Yeah, again, I couldn't fault 2015. We were just, I suppose, unlucky. That's just the way it was. Since that, I couldn't really tell you, to be honest. I suppose Peter Riley left and Joe McCarthy left and Peter Donnelly left, and they were top class. I couldn't tell you what the new setups were like since that. I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure we get back to where we were soon enough. Hopefully with our new strength and conditioning coach we have, Andre, and that. So a lot of the young lads coming through. So I think the future is good again. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose 2011, 2012, 2013, we won them. So, and what was it kind of like to jump on to that kind of winning culture that was instilled within that under-21 kind of group? And obviously to kind of win in 2014 really was the icing on the cake for a lot of them players.
Yeah, definitely. It was. That's exactly what it is. You were going into the winning culture, and that's exactly what it was. You never felt under pressure. You never felt like you were going to lose a game. Yeah, the likes of Killian Clark, Darren McVitie, Conor Moynihan, they were just pure winners, and you never ever felt like you were going to lose a game, no matter what stage it was at. And I think we bet teams comfortably enough. And if you look at the Dublin team we lost, like the players playing on that, I think majority of them are playing with the Dublin seniors now. So I always knew it. An Ulster senior was around the corner for Gavin, and lucky enough again last year.
Yeah, definitely, without a shadow of doubt, and it was great success. And I suppose if we can touch on to that great win that night, I think Liam Buchanan got a serious goal to kind of get us back into it. Great excitement then, and obviously we probably left it the last couple of moments in Armagh that night. But what was it all like? Obviously, just kind of like the success, the bit of crack, and I suppose I know we did it just that week after the Dublin game. But what was it like even kind of to enjoy such a special victory for Cavan?
Yeah, it was, as I said, it was unbelievable. So words can't really describe it. It is everything you dream of. I remember Liam getting the ball. I think it was Enda Hessen got a break or something, popped at Liam in the back of the net, and Ryan McHugh with his hands on his head, and he knew his game over, and so did we at that stage. It was just, as I said, something unreal. I just remember. Everyone went so quick. We were on the pitch and there was people patting in the back, or you were getting battered around the head. You didn't know where you were because it was just, and you couldn't find any of the lads. It was until you got back in and everyone got together, and it was unreal. But I suppose we had to keep at that time. We had to keep everything low key and show that we were ready for next week. So we couldn't go too mad, unfortunately. But
yeah, definitely. I suppose the game against Dublin came literally a week after, and pitting ourselves against the best. We weren't far away, and probably heartbreak that day as well. And obviously everyone felt we were kind of robbed up in Portlaoise, unfortunately. And what's your thoughts and kind of memories from that game? And obviously very just a bitter pill to swallow, I suppose.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was one of the worst defeats now, because I've seen what Dublin done them when they got to the final. I think they could have won by, I don't know what it was. It was a massive margin anyway. But yeah, we were so well set up. But I suppose all you can look at really now is the excuses. But I suppose Conor Moynihan got injured early and came back on and stuff like that. And Joe Dillon got a black card, and just little things. I suppose referee at the end. But sure, you're going to have that in games anyway. If we were good enough, we would have bet them, and that was just it. Yeah,
definitely. I suppose, and as you were talking there, the transition onto the Cavan senior team, and obviously serious competitive from strong teams the last couple of years, and you obviously made your debut in 2018. Matty was obviously still in charge at that stage. So what was it like kind of break onto the senior setup? Obviously, Ronan's had lots of experience, so obviously a good man to learn from as well. So what was the senior setup like for yourself, Enda?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would have, I suppose, any game Ronan played, I probably would have been at. I'd say watching it with Dad, I suppose. So lucky enough to be able to look up to him and Sean and Keane within the club, and any of the other lads like Paul Lukin had played as well. It was. I remember being in holidays, and I think it was in Portugal or something, and Matt gave me a call, and I've never met such a positive man in my life, and I was like, I definitely want to go in there. It was. I suppose I knew all the lads. I knew from the 21 level, so it was simple enough. Just go in, keep the head down, and work as hard as you can. Train like a dog, and make sure you just get your place in the team each week, and that's what I done.
Yeah, and what did you make of the league final experience against the Rossies in Croke Park? And great experience for yourself, the team, and obviously we weren't far away at the end result, goal to Laura. So what was that day for yourself like compared to the end of getting to run out in Croke Park and experience it all, I suppose?
Yeah, I suppose it's definitely everything you want. It's everything you want to do if you're a young lad looking to play football is run out in Croke Park. As you said, the only unfortunate thing is we didn't win, but no, it was pretty deadly. I suppose probably a little bit daunting at the time. It definitely seems a bigger pitch than any other pitch, especially you're chasing after a few Roscommon lads. But yeah, it was class, all right. But again, I was disgusted that we didn't win it because it was definitely there to be won. But left it behind us, and unfortunately, that's just the way it went. Yeah.
Yeah, and in 2018 as well, Enda, we got promotion as well, and it was a memorable game against Tipperary that day. And obviously, kind of good times for Cavan football, and kind of spurred us on to have good days in recent times as well. So I remember a memorable day as well, Enda, and obviously that year, a good year and promotion. But I think we had a long run in the qualifiers as well. So not a bad year to be involved in the Cavan setup, Enda.
No, definitely not. But there definitely was more in us too. There was we were very unfortunate, I suppose, with injuries. But again, you can't look at that. But it was great players, and that's what I knew as like this. Like we're definitely good enough. We're better. Like players are equally as good as anywhere else, if not better. It was just something needed to click. It did in a few games, I suppose. But against Donegal, I think we were a point ahead with 20 minutes into the game, and I think they got a lucky flick from a 45, and the game then just kind of went from us, and that's just the way it went. And then, as you said, in the qualifiers, we had a great run, which was really enjoyable playing every Sunday, week in, week out, sun splitting the stones and massive Cavan crowds as they do. They're unreal. And then I think we played Tyrone on a Sunday as well. It was scorching. We're running after Colin McShane for the hour, and we were unlucky there too. I think it was a kick of a ball, getting 2 or 3 points maybe in the end that they got us, and I think they could have played in the All-Ireland final that year. So it just shows there's very little between teams. It's just really if you click how much you want it and how hard you go at it. So.
Yeah, absolutely, 110%. And I suppose we can touch on to Castlerahan. You got the ball rolling in 2012, the year after you got to the county final against Cavan Gales, and breaking on to a very good, strong Castlerahan team. And so, what was it like to make the jump onto it and watch play with a lot of lads that you would have been watching as a young fella?
Yeah, it was definitely all I've ever wanted to do anyway, because as you just said there, all I've been doing is watching the boys. I remember Sean in the intermediate final. I think he was only young, like 16 or around 2001, and watching I suppose Keane and Ronan majority of the time, because I used to go with Dad everywhere, no matter what they were playing in, or any games, or the likes of Daniel Lynch, any of them lads, Pork Lukey. I think they won everything the whole way up, so it was just. All I wanted to do when I went out to play was just win, because they were winning, you know what I mean? So I was lucky enough as well to suppose have in my own age group have a few lads that were good enough to win underage titles. We won under 14, I think, and minor. There's only one I had. Well, Fergal Riley was class, and you had a few other lads as well. And then I remember I was doing Waterboy in 2011 against the Gales, and it was just a sickener, to be honest. We didn't get going at all that day, I remember well. And then 2012, all I wanted to do was get in there, because you obviously think you'll make a difference. And then I remember, I think it was definitely the first year. I think we could have been Kingston in the semi-final of the championship, and definitely you get your eyes open going into senior club football. it's probably tougher than intercounty on the minor under 21. You've top class cornerbacks and very strong. I learned quickly I needed to get that level, and I needed to work very hard. I think then in 2000, I don't know what way 2013 or 14 really went. Then I suppose we were lucky enough then in 2015, 16, and since that to get to finals. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I suppose to make that jump up as well, Enda, going from minor to senior, as you were saying, it was quite hard. So, what did you make of it all? Obviously, playing with the likes of Sean and Ronan, you're only going to develop playing with lads like that, and make that step up and develop yourself as a player, Enda.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, like I'm so lucky. I suppose I was, as I said, I watched our team play with. They played intermediate level for so long. I was so lucky. I knew there was a senior championship coming. It was just when was it going to come. And look, as I said myself, from that team, myself, Ferg Riley would have went on to the senior panel that year after, and yeah, sure, it's all you want to do. Them lads are playing with Cav, and you want to play with them. You want to see where you're at. I suppose you compare yourself to them as well, and to look up to them. And they were, I suppose, great leaders on and off the pitch. Maybe not Mackie so much off the pitch, but I know. But no, I suppose on the pitch, they're class to play with. And as I said, I knew a senior championship was coming. We had lads like Stephen Cooney, Paul Lukey, by bursting themselves at every training session, and every training session was so competitive. There was blood going, there was everything going. You know what I mean? So it was, I suppose, as I said, it was an easy introduction. I'd like Stephen Cooney pulling the head of me and the jersey of me every training session, Enda Collins after me. So it was easy to get used to, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Without a shadow of a doubt. And I suppose 2 championship medals for yourself now, Enda, winning that elusive one in 2018. And I was just saying to Ronan there a couple of months ago, a special feeling. You just got the monkey off the back. You were there for so many years. And 2018, probably one of the best days in your life, Enda.
Definitely. Jeez, I'll never forget it for as long as I live. Oh God, it was. I don't know. I think it was just more of relief than anything. I couldn't believe when Conor Ning was putting the whistle up to them out that he was actually blowing it up that we were finally champions. Because God, you questioned it so much. And I remember I didn't go out after 2015, 2016. I remember lying in bed thinking, "Holy, when is this ever going to happen? Like, what do we need to do? This is crazy stuff." And thank the Lord that it happened in 2018. God, I suppose I can thank Sean for that. Ocean and Colin for following up with me penalty missed. But yeah, no, it was unreal, unbelievable stuff.
And the fair play for not being able to curse there. You nearly let rip twice there. So that's nearly a bigger achievement than winning the championships.
just in case any kids watch.
But and obviously, like, describe that journey in 2018 and with the club, because obviously it was a siege mentality. You had everything in place. Donald was managing you. Everyone was at the peak of your powers. So, you know, a special journey. Great to get the win, and even kind of talk about maybe the quarterfinals and the semi-finals. And did you always firmly believe? I'll ask the lads themselves anyway. But
yeah.
Personally, do you always believe you could win that championship in 2018? And
yeah, definitely. I think when. I'm not saying the guys before that was unreal. Like, we were just inches away every other year. It was Mike Riley was over. He was excellent, and Anthony Ford was there the year before with Donald as well. But then when Marty Corey came along, it just, I don't know, this little extra bit of, I suppose, belief and know-how kind of came about us. And yeah, as you said, we always believe. I believe since I wouldn't play the game unless I believed I was going to win every game. But definitely that year, as I said, Donald incredible, and that was all our focus was ever on, was winning that senior championship. And every training session, I know for a fact it was mentioned in every training session, just so we knew where we needed to get that, and we knew what we needed to do to get there as well. So in the quarterfinal, who do we play in the quarterfinal? Anybody know?
Kingsport.
Yes, we were after getting the news of Oisin, I think, the week beforehand. So I think that even brought everybody close together, because I'll never forget that news as well. We were up training lab, and I think it was Wednesday or Thursday night. It was crazy. Lads didn't know where to look. There was lads with tears in their eyes and all that. So again, we went out to play Kingston. It could have been the following week in Mulla, and we played super stuff that day. I think we beat them convincingly enough. Then semi-final was
Derby, wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was tough going. That was in King's School. We didn't play whatever it is. I don't know about Lavi. They always make it hard for us. I mean, they always, I suppose, grind us, and it's very tough going. We're lucky enough to come out the better of it every year, but every game, you're after being in a game, and I think that one we went to a replay, did it? Yeah, and we're so to get over the line there as well. It was, I suppose, instilling more belief in us, but we knew we had to take it up a notch, get into the final as well, and I suppose I missed a few chances in the first half that I suppose the game could have been over against Castlerahan, but then in the second half they got ahead of us, and again the boys drove us on, the likes of Ronan and Enda O'Connell and Paul Lukey and Sink, all the boys in the back, and Sean there got us the goal, and it took every man, and it took men from the bench and everything. So yeah, it was just unreal, and as I said, it took so much to get to where we got there, but thank God we got there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, as you say, when Conor Deneen did blow that final whistle, and pure euphoria. The streets are lined in Ballyjim's off. Special times for the club, Enda.
Yeah, class. Yeah, there are so many people that deserve that victory, even ones that have gone, I suppose, at this stage. But even the trainers we had at underage are like Sean's father himself, Tony Brady, would have put so much in the club. So many people that deserved it and couldn't wait for that moment to come and to see when you got home was just class, just all I've ever wanted, and I suppose I'm sure the lads are the same. So yeah, it was just unbelievable stuff in Bally's stuff that night. It was class.
Absolutely, 100%. And I suppose he's won it for a second time, back-to-back winners in 2019. And probably not the most memorable game of football against Rammer. I think we'll all agree on that. But great to win another one. And you couldn't nearly believe your luck, I'd say.
Oh, we definitely could believe our luck, because we knew we knew we'd go on and win it again. We'd no problem. Once all them players are there again, we'd have no problem winning it. It was just getting all the players there again and having that group of players. I think that year we bet. I don't know who was in the quarterfinal. In the semi-final, it was Calvin Gales, I think, and they were tough matches. But against Rammer, yeah, I don't know. We always seemed in control, and I think after getting over the line, we never felt like we were ever going to lose. It was always just a case of doing. We had such a good game plan, doing what we needed to do, as I said, to get over the line. Every man doing what he's supposed to do, like no individuals, just collectively doing what you had to do. And again, you couldn't win championships better, beating Rammer and beating Castlerahan in championship finals. It's what you dream of, really.
Absolutely. And I suppose kind of maybe pushing on from that, obviously great days for the club, and maybe a run in the Ulster Championship, Ulster Club Championship, Enda. Do you feel maybe in 2018 and maybe 19, like say we could touch on 2018 first, did you probably enjoy it so much after 2018? Like did you maybe focus much on the Ulster Club, or were you just so happy to win a county championship?
Yeah, I suppose there was, you were delighted to win a county championship, but there was lads back doing a bit on the Wednesday night. I think I was after that. We probably weren't that well prepared for the Slotney. For the Castlerahan game. But we went to Kingscourt and we realised, we were in the game. We're actually as good as these, if not, you know what I mean, and if not better. But as again, unfortunately, we had a few injuries. I think we got a red card early on. I think we only ended up losing the game by a point. And that was, I think, definitely Donald's biggest regret, I think. So that's why he definitely came back in 2019, was to win an Ulster title. And the Noonans came down that day to referee. Yeah, it was our own fault. Yeah, our own doing that we didn't beat them that day. I know myself, I scuffed 2 goal chances in the first half and played absolutely awful stuff. And I'm sure a few other lads are in the same boat. And it is one that definitely you would like to see how you would have got on. I think the Unions go on, and I don't know if they won it or got to the final that year, but yeah, it's definitely a sickener, all right.
Absolutely. Well, to put you in a good mood, Man United are gone 4-2 up there, so that'll put you in a good mood after talking about the Ulster Club Championship.
That's all I wanted to hear.
Thanks for that, Enda. So we'll move on to yourself, Sean. You represented Cavan in the early noughties, and you represented Castlerahan from 2001 to the present day itself. You've tagged on 2 championship medals like the lads. So, Sean, if we can touch on your Cavan days, off air you were telling me the great Matty Kerrigan was over you in the early years as well. So, what did you make of playing for Cavan over the years, Sean? And I was just looking back in some of the pictures, you were playing with some mighty players.
Yeah, it was a good experience. Now I suppose when I started with them back in it was Matty Kerrigan's last year with Cavan, and I suppose I came in after the league, so I came in for the championship that year. And I suppose I was introduced to guys who had won Ulster championships there, and I kind of grown up watching as well, like the likes of Dermot McCabe and Peter Riley and Larry and Jason and all these guys. They were kind of heroes of mine when I was growing up. So it was a big thing, I suppose, to come in and be playing with them rather than going sit in the stands watching them as a young lad. So yeah, there's some great players. I suppose we I suppose like Enda was saying there was a lot left in that team, or probably didn't get enough out of it. Like there was some great players and there was good talent coming up as well, like through the ranks, like you know, in my age group there, Shawnee Johnson and Mark McKeever and Paddy Brady and all them guys. Anthony Gaynor, like there was, I suppose there was no better players at that age group, or you know, bursting onto the scene at that time. But unfortunately, I suppose it didn't really turn into any kind of success for us. But look at it, we had good times playing, and they were very enjoyable and good memories, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I suppose kind of touching on to them early years, Sean, what did you make of it all? Obviously, the everlasting memory seems to be with that current, or that Cavan team back in 04 and 05. We probably could have tagged on maybe an Ulster Championship and maybe a couple of league titles, Sean. So, you know, what was your thoughts on that? Like, do you feel you could have tagged on a few leagues or Ulster Championships?
Yeah, I definitely think, I suppose the talent was there, like, you know, from, I suppose, like, lads were all competing. Like at college, they were competing with winning Siggers and Cups with Sligo and with all the different colleges. Like there was always Cavan lads competing, and were you know, as good as any Dublin player or any other player in the country. So I don't know. I suppose it's hard to put a finger on. I often think about it, and especially when Cavan won this year, you're kind of thinking, what was the difference like, or you know, why couldn't we make that step up back then or whatever. But I suppose, like, thinking back, and there was always a kind of a lot of change, like, you know, over I suppose I was with Cavan maybe 7 or 8 years or something like that, and over that period, like, probably had 5 or 6 different managers. So you know, and like I suppose each manager comes in and has different ideas and different thoughts on who should be playing and stuff, and it's just, I suppose it becomes kind of very inconsistent, and there's a lot of change. And I suppose that, like, I know with the Cavan team now, it's a new setup, but there's a kind of there's a lot of players there that have been there for a number of years, and I suppose that brings a lot of consistency. But I suppose back then, like, I probably felt like there was a lot of chopping and changing all the time and stuff, and it was just very hard for any team to get settled, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you feel, Sean, maybe if there was that bit of stability within the Cavan setup, more could have been achieved, and I suppose a system could have been put in place to maintain the players? Because I suppose the St. Ronan a couple of months ago, there obviously was a lot of overturn of players. So do you think if there was a bit more sustainability, there would have been more success?
Look, there may have been or there may not have been, but I think it probably would have given us a better chance. Like I know, looking back at our underage teams and that, like, we had very strong underage teams back then. And we were unlucky not to win a few Ulsters and stuff. We lost in 2 Ulster finals there. One was to a Tyrone team, and I'd say we lost by a couple of points. That was in 2000 and maybe 2001, I think, or 2002. And I'd say the majority of that Tyrone team went on to win a few senior All-Irelands. And on the way to that, like, we bet a Donegal team with, you know, again, a lot of that team was McFadden on it, and there was, I don't know, I couldn't even name all the players, but there's a few of them of All-Irelands as well. And again, we bet Armagh in the first round that year, Ronan Clark and a few of these guys, and they have All-Irelands. Like, so I suppose, like, I don't know what the difference is, or why it couldn't progress through to senior, like, but I definitely think if there was, I suppose, a little bit more consistency, it would help. Like I know Terry Hyland, he took over shortly after I was finished up, and he had a good run of it. He was one of the longest serving senior managers in the country, I suppose, and that brought a lot of consistency. And I suppose that was the start of, he came up 321s up to the seniors, and it brought a lot of consistency. And I suppose Cavan started progressing a wee bit then, and have been kind of Division 1, Division 2 consistently over the last number of years,
Absolutely. Of course, guys, this podcast is sponsored by OrgaRetro.com. Check the website out for all your retro gear needs and wants. And Sean, maybe kind of coming towards the end of your Cavan career, what was the deciding factor for you to pull away from the Cavan setup? Did you feel you probably gave enough to it at that stage, or were things developing, or were you happy to put in your lot with the club?
Well, it was actually I suppose Tommy Carr was there, and he said I suppose he dropped me in the end. I played. That was in the second year. So in the first year, I played every match, and then the second year, I suppose he wanted to change things up. We were unlucky not to reach an Ulster final that year. We bet for Mana. Mana were after, I think, maybe playing in an Ireland semi-final, or they were after having a good run of it. That maybe a year or two before that, and we bet them in the first round, and we lost. We lost to an Antrim in the semi-finals. And I suppose we obviously thought we should have progressed there to an Ulster final, but I suppose Tommy Carr decided to shake things up the following year, and that was that. But I suppose it was a blessing in disguise for me, because I suppose I got to put the shoulder to the wheel in terms of the club, and really, I was up in Dublin, travelling up and down, good few nights a week and stuff, and it's very tiring. Like I was doing that for 7 years, from when I was in college, and I was working up in Dublin as well. Then, and it's a lot to take on. So I suppose when that happened, that was actually 2000. That was the first year we got to the senior county final. I had a good year that year, I suppose. But it was just, I suppose I was focused on the club, and put in I was able to focus on my own training in that year. And look, Val Andrews then came in with Cavan, and he actually asked me to come back into the panel. But I suppose I got to see a bit of life, I suppose, for that year, and I decided not to go back in, because it's a huge commitment. It's massive, and especially when you're traveling up and down from Dublin, and a lot of that was before the motorway was there as well. So I used to leave work at 4:30 in the evening, and be down there for 8 o'clock. I'd have to be queuing, going through Dunshaughlin and Nav and everywhere, and it was torture. But look, I suppose I was able to enjoy my club football more then, and put more into that as well, which was great.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose if you're touching on the commitment of the whole thing there as well, Sean, what did you make of the commitment the county did bring to your life at that time when you were involved? Obviously, that juggling act between Castlerahan and Cavan. What did you make of it all over the years, Sean? I suppose in the early years it wasn't as bad, but now it's probably gone a bit mad.
Yeah. I suppose back then, I was in college. I was playing with the Cavan 21s, UCD, the club, and with the Cavan seniors. So I hadn't got much time for anything else other than playing football, 4 different teams, so I was probably training every night of the week, and I might come down on a Friday night and have an under 21 match and a senior match on a Sunday. So I didn't really have time for anything other than football, to be honest, around that part of my life. So it was a huge commitment. It was just it was all training and football. Look, it was very enjoyable. I wouldn't change it. But it was obviously a huge commitment. But I suppose even looking at the county setup then, I'd say probably most clubs or senior clubs that are actually serious about what they're doing are probably trained to that standard now themselves anyway. In terms of hitting the gym, and then your pitch sessions, and obviously recovery and everything people have got more knowledgeable about it, and so a lot of club setups are close to what county was back then anyway. And I don't know what the senior lads are doing now in the county. Obviously it's a huge commitment as well, look, it was a big commitment back then, and I suppose the club has progressed now as well, so it's nearly at a par with it, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely without a shadow of a doubt. And we can touch on to Castlerahan, your club. So you would have got the ball rolling in 2001, and you're still playing to this present day. You've 2 championship medals, as I alluded to, and obviously, Sean, you've been around the block so many years, and obviously, Enda, it was a special feeling for him, special feeling for Ronan to win that championship, but maybe a special feeling for yourself as well. A really, really special feeling, Sean, because you've seen it all, you've done it all with Castlerahan, and you probably couldn't believe it.
No, it was great. Like, yeah, Ginny Mac. I suppose we in back when I started in 2001, was it? We won the intermediate championship and got up senior, like, and we've been senior since, which is a good achievement in itself, like, you know. And I suppose it was after that intermediate championship, there was a big change over players. I suppose there was a lot of the older guys probably weren't that old, but I was only 16, so I thought they were old probably, but they probably hung up their boots, and there was a lot of an influx of a new group, like, and I suppose going into senior football with a lot of younger players, like, it was a struggle sometimes to maintain that status. But I suppose we always kind of had the idea that we'd win a senior championship, but I suppose it probably took longer than maybe we expected, especially after getting to our first final in 2011, was it? But yeah, like, the club was great. Like, it's great to see where we're at now, and I suppose we've been consistently up there for the last number of years. And that's a good achievement. And yeah, it was great to win the 2 senior championships. And I suppose, like, even last year, we were a little bit unlucky, I suppose. If a few things had to go our way in the semi-finals, we might have got to another final there. But yeah, look, the club has come a long way, and it's great to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, as I said, Sean, like, you've seen it all, and you're around the Castlerahan panel for so long, and obviously to reach the Holy Grail in 2018 and finally get over the line, like, a special moment for yourself and Ronan and all the kind of the long stage and people within the Castlerahan team, Sean, because obviously you worked so hard to get there, and you finally got over the line. And I suppose, as I was saying to Enda, tell me about the whole journey of it all. Obviously, you would have seen a lot. So over the years, obviously, he's got the right people in place. So, did you see this 2018 win coming, Sean, and was it just about getting the right people in charge?
Yeah, I definitely seen it coming. Like, I suppose, I don't know, but when we started with Castlerahan, I kind of felt like we could win every match all the time, like, and I suppose even more so in the last number of years, like, we were kind of pushing all the time. So, like, no, it was a big relief that we won, but it wasn't a surprise because I suppose, like, we've been knocking on the door for so many years, and like, we probably should have more than 2 as well. Like, that'd be my opinion. And I suppose we were a bit unlucky in some situations, and maybe we had a wrong mindset, or that in some other situations where we may have been better taking the game to teams rather than letting them come at us and stuff like that. But look, if you live and learn, and it was great to get over the line in 2018, yeah, and again, obviously, in 2019.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose when it came around to 2019 as well, Sean, obviously kind of recuperating for the year after and everything that came with it. So the 2019 win, Sean, a great way to tag on another championship. And obviously, we were saying not a great game against Rammer, but always nice to tag on another senior championship medal, Sean.
Yeah. Look, I in 2019, I was down in Cavan in 2018, living down there, and I moved back up to Dublin, and I suppose I hadn't as much involvement in it because I was traveling up and down, so I didn't, and I picked up an injury then, I think just before the semi-final, so I didn't actually play in the final at all. But yeah, look, it was great to retain it. It's nice to win one, and then it's a great, like, I suppose after so long, losing in so many finals and stuff like that, to win one, but it showed good character again, I suppose, and a hunger for a team to come back and win a second one. The lads weren't happy just to finish up with one, like, and there's still that hunger there with the lads, like, they're mad for training, and there's a great work ethic there with them. So no, it's great,
Yeah, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And I suppose, tell me about the management team, Marty Corey and the great Mr. Donald Keoghan, Sean. I think everyone has a few stories about him. So tell me about the management team, Sean, and what it meant to you to be managed by the likes of Marty and Donald and to bring you to the Holy Grail.
Yeah, look, it's great. Like, there's to be fair, like there's so many. We've had a good few managers down the years, and we haven't got across the line. And I suppose Donald came in and he brought Marty with him, and yeah, Marty he brought it. I suppose we changed our mindset in that we were kind of more focused on our attacking, like, you know, and that was kind of our mindset in 2018. We weren't going to go out, I suppose, losing and not giving it a go. So it was just a kind of I suppose he brought a bit of a change in the mindset and maybe a little bit of a change in our setup and the way we approached the game. And you know, I suppose we were maybe a little bit more structured, and you know, he really brought a lot of experience to it and some, you know, good tactics. And I suppose Donald was there. He was driving on all the time, like, and to be fair to Donald, he you know, every match it was like, you know, push on. We were like imposing ourselves on the other team rather than, you know, letting them come at us, which maybe we've made a mistake in the past, like, you know. So no, credit to the two boys, like, and Nori as well. They're the whole management team were excellent, like, you know.
Definitely. I suppose, Sean, no better man to probably ask, what does Castlerahan mean to you as a club, Sean? Because obviously you've been around the block so long at this stage. So what does it mean to yourself personally? I know you did have experience in the Cavan days and the college days, but Castlerahan as a club to you, Sean, what does it all mean to you?
Look, it's great. Like, it's the same. You're growing up playing with lads, and you know, when you win a club championship or, you know, anything with a group of guys that you've grown up playing with, and you know, it's brilliant. Like, I remember, you know, when I started, like the likes of John Clark and Brian Mulvey and Alan Mulvey and all these guys, and they were playing. I was looking up to them, and I suppose they were looking out for me. You know, I suppose I was the young lad in the team, and it's the same now. Like, I suppose it's I'd hope that I'd be kind of the one maybe looking out for the younger lads and giving them a few words of wisdom or whatever. But look, the club means everything. Like, you know, you spend your whole life playing with a group of lads, and when you achieve something together, it means so much, like, you know.
Absolutely, 100%. And can you see yourself maybe managing or training the Castlerahan lads when you do finish up, or how you fix regarding all that?
I don't know about that now, but I've a few lads, young lads myself there now. I'll get them in, hopefully starting off playing a bit of football and stuff, and we'll see how that goes. Like, but yeah, look, I'll be careful, and I'll bring them to train, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, 100%. Thanks for that, Sean. And Ronan, we can touch on to yourself. I obviously had you in the podcast a few weeks ago, so not bore the viewers. So we all know about your stats and figures already as it is, but we'll touch on them again. Cavan from 2005 to 2015, and Castlerahan from 04 to 2020, and you've tagged on 2 championships with the mighty Castlerahan. So Ronan, we touch on to your Castlerahan days, and obviously touching them county finals, and I suppose 2018 came knocking around, and Castlerahan were Cavan senior champions.
Yeah, as the lad said, it was brilliant. Probably a long time coming, and we thought, especially after being so successful underage coming through, that it would just happen. Well, I felt that anyway. And actually, it was Sean's father. Maybe one of the games we'd lost, maybe in my early years of senior. I think Tony must have went over us, and he said, "Ronan, you could be 31 or 32 before you actually win a championship." And I thought he was insane, to be honest with you. I probably told him the same, but he wasn't far wrong. It did take that long, and it took probably years of us being a young team and just kind of hardening ourselves and getting used to I suppose senior football, and maybe taking a few not nice defeats, whether it be in a final or whatever, just to learn kind of the skills and the bit of character you need to get over the line.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And I suppose 2018, I was saying to Sean there, you were around the Castlerahan panel for so many years, Ronan. So when it came to it, and when you won it, Ronan, it was years of hard work and dedication, and you finally got over the line. And a great day for yourself and the club and the family and everyone involved.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Like, as Enda said, when we came back to Ballygym stuff, it really kind of made you realise, as much as on the pitch did too, but when you come back to Ballygym stuff, it really made you realise how much it meant to everybody, from knee high to the oldest man or lady in the parish. Some of the old people you met, they nearly bring a tear to your eye, because it just meant so much to them, and they've been waiting. I suppose they've been watching us and thinking that we might do it, and eventually I suppose we did do it. So it was a brilliant celebration for the whole area. and then we did enjoy it. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And 2019, obviously, Ronan do back to back, and he's won the league title in 18 and 19 as well. So double double, and obviously high standards within the Castlerahan club at the minute, Ronan.
Yeah, as Enda alluded to, there's lads there who are absolutely brilliant, and they keep driving the thing on. And it's just a matter, I suppose, of keeping standards high, and which they are obviously doing. And once you do that, then you've got a great chance, and there's brilliant players still there. So there's no reason why Castlerahan can't go on and win another few. But yeah, they're just brilliant lads, and they're great to be around.
Definitely. And what can you see for the year ahead? Obviously, are you involved with the club at all? But I know, obviously, said you finished up, but can you see yourself going back this year's end to convince you at all?
I give it another few weeks. Same with you too.
You know what's said, like the lads, like they're all doing their individual running and their individual, say, bit of strength work or whatever they can do themselves. So yeah, I know from talking to Enda and from talking to one or two other lads that they are working hard as always, and I don't expect anything else. Because they know it takes a bit of hard work. They do, as Enda said, they have great fun on the training pitch. Although they might be knocking lumps for each other at times, there's great slagging, and so obviously you have good nights out after different, say, games and sessions as well. So they're just a great group of lads, and I've no doubt that they'll be thereabouts again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, Ronan, what does Castlerahan as a club mean to you? Obviously, because we all know about your story a couple of years ago and gone on well. You're good again now, thank God. And well, like as a club to you, Ronan, what does it all mean? And to kind of play with your brother and Enda, Fergal, and all the lads you would have grown up with. So, what does it all mean to you, Ronan?
Yeah, it's as Sean said, it's just about, I suppose, we all started together, and some of our fathers would have done the underage coaching, and we would have been watching the senior team when we were growing up, and it's just a kind of a community feel that everyone's kind of in it together. And more than what I said when we won the 2018 final, it felt that we all won. It wasn't just the group of players. You could see it in people's eyes, and you could see it in their emotion around the town. It was just brilliant. So it's no more than what it was in 2018. It's the same now, and hopefully it'll be the same for a long time to come. That it'll be the whole club in it together, and keep trying to push it forward. Because that's pretty much what it takes. You need to have good underage structures and good underage people involved to produce players, and we had that, thanks be to God. A lot of, as I said, our parents, like say Sean's father, put in a mountain of work at underage level. Loads of other men like him, who are, let's say, maybe parents or whatever, gave us great time, and as a result, I suppose, we eventually got over the line in 2018. And people kind of forget that, I suppose, that people have put in massive amounts of time and effort in years gone by, and we are grateful to them people.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I suppose we can turn around to yourself there, Enda. Obviously, you're still playing, and you would have played with a lot of good players with and against over the years. But Enda, yourself, who would have been the best player you played with and against over the years?
Oh, suppose best player to play against. Probably going back, I think it was a league game against Down in Bradford Park. I was back with Ryan Johnson, and oh God, I didn't know how good he was. The skill and pace of him, and I just remember even before half time, he got a yard, we cut through a gap, straight in and go. I remember Darby looking at me saying, "What the?" And I remember going at half time thinking, "I am in for it here now." And yeah, he was class. I marked him again actually in the qualifiers after that, and done a better job that day because I think he had more lads protecting me. But yeah, no, he was top class. And probably to play with, it's hard to pick one, I suppose. But as
beside you.
the two boys there, I suppose, were excellent as well. I suppose Mackie has that bit of class that every team needs and wants, I suppose. But as I said, you could pick any player nearly on our senior team. Doesn't matter. Ocean O'Connell, any of them, like all class players, and all do a job.
Absolutely. And what about yourself, Sean? Who would have been the best player you played with against over the years?
Probably played against, like, I suppose some of those Tyrone teams, and or like the likes of Sean Kavanagh and stuff. Obviously he's got a good array of medals and awards and that. So I suppose so something like that. He obviously an amazing player. Played with, obviously in the club now. Like there's two boys there are fairly good at Mackie, and outside that, then like I had a great time for Shawnee Johnson on the Cavan team. I think he was a class act, like and then don't tell him that now, but he'd like that. but I suppose then up in college, like there's likes of Joe Sheridan and from Meath, he was unreal, like so look at there's loads of players. Hard to single out some, but there's some good players there anyway.
Absolutely. And what about yourself, Ronan? Best player you played with against over the years?
Yeah, no, it's. I suppose I answered that the last time, but it's it'd be something similar, like against and with, I suppose, David Kelly from Sligo. I just find him absolutely brilliant. A joy to play with, because he'd always be available for you to pass the ball in, and against, he was an absolute nightmare. Marked him once in a league game in Breffni. Obviously our own lads then within the club, like I said before, Keane is a fantastic talent. Sean has always looked up to Sean when I was younger, playing for Cavan minors and 21s and seniors. And then you have, as Enda said himself there, Oisin O'Connell, Enda himself, Enda O'Connell, Paul Lukey. We're very, very lucky that we have so many, Davy Wright, so many lads who are of really, really high quality. And there's many more lads that I could name. But we're just lucky, I suppose, that we've got a chance to play with them.
Absolutely, 100%. And we can touch on the Cavan Ulster 2020 success as well. We'll start with yourself, Enda. What was the verdict on it all? Were you sad that you didn't hang in for another year?
Yeah, it would have been nice to be a part of it, I suppose. It was I suppose unreal. I was watching with a few lads, and you don't usually see that side of it because you're usually playing or whatever. But the joy and the crack alone brought to the house that night, and the what it meant to it. I suppose I was so delighted for the lads that I had played with myself, because you know how much work they put in. And I knew it was only around the corner, so it was just class. And even for the people at Cavan, I suppose I think the town was just absolutely jammers with cars that night. I know it probably wasn't what it could have been for the fans and the players, but it's still unreal what they brought to Cavan that day, and hopefully it'll come again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose what impressed you most about this current Cavan squad, and obviously you've been with them most recently. So what impressed you most about the panel of players that we have at the minute, Enda?
Yeah, I suppose the thing that impressed me most the games gone by was the resilience and belief, because they never gave up. I don't know how they came back at half time against Down, because it looked like they had no hope, because Down were just running through us. But it was incredible, and there's no, I suppose, standout one performer. It's just pure team, and again, everyone seems to know what they're doing, no matter if you're number 30 or number 2. Like, and that's what it takes, and pure hard work. I know them lads they train, it could be 7 nights a week, and that's what it takes.
Yeah, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And have you thrown your name into that for this year ahead, Enda, or are you still happy with the club, or are you going to go back?
No, this year it's just club for me at the moment. So hopefully put in a good club championship, and maybe next year we'll hopefully put on the blue with Cavan. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Mickey Graham, hope you're watching this. Yourself, Sean, what did you make of Cavan's Ulster 2020 success?
Yeah, it was amazing. So I was delighted. It's great to see it. Like, so like 1997 is a long time ago. Still one before that, like, so it's great. It's great to see a new set of heroes for like up and coming young lads that are coming through, like, and anyway, like as Enda said there, like they were amazing in the resilience they showed, and like their never say die attitude. I suppose like they could have lost any match, and they stuck in there, and they pulled it out of the bag, and it was amazing. Like, yeah, it was brilliant, and it was very exciting, and especially, I suppose, with everyone in lockdown and everything, it was a real tonic for everyone in Cavan anyway. Like, it was great.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fantastic scenes. And Ronan, I'll ask you this question because I asked you a couple of months ago and you gave a Sterling bit of advice on it. But what did you make of getting Tyrone in this year's championship, Ronan? And I suppose no better test to pitch yourself against the best.
Yeah, Tyrone will be a tough challenge for Cavan. I would see at the moment that the Cavan have a distinct advantage in the midfield area, and maybe even in the physicality side of things. Obviously, you'd be worried about Tyrone's running game from the back line, and also they have a few, I suppose, nice forwards up front. But if we kind of dominate them around the middle, then they'll struggle to get the ball, and if they don't have the ball, they can't beat you. So I would see that that's an area that Cavan will really strongly focus on. The restarts in particular with say Raymond Galligan, making sure that we get our own ball, and also then putting a really tight squeeze on Niall Morgan, because I suppose with the loss of Colin Cavan, and even when Colin Cavan was there, Tyrone weren't that strong around the middle. So it's definitely an area that I would, if I was coaching Cavan, I'd be focusing on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose, are we far better off getting the likes of Tyrone instead of getting the likes of Fermanagh or Antrim? Because at the end of the day, Ronan, the first thing that pop into your head, we're better off getting the likes of Tyrone, because we'll see exactly where we're at.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's two ways of looking at it. The first way is that you're definitely testing yourself against one of the top teams, or regarded as one of the top teams in the country, and I suppose when we, please God, come through that game. Last year won't have been any kind of, let's say, a bit of luck or whatever. It'll prove that Cavan, as Enda said, have been developing really well, and are a really good outfit. So hopefully they get over the line. If you get I suppose a Fermanagh or an Antrim, as myself and Sean definitely know, sometimes you can get caught on the hop and take them for a little bit for granted. You definitely won't be taking a Tyrone team for granted. You'll be going all guns blazing for the first round of the championship.
John's gone, is he?
Looks bad.
It must be on. United won easy, and
Yeah, 5-2.
Did it was 6-2? No, was it 6-2 or 5-2?
Yeah. Happy days. Didn't look at that in the first half.
Yeah,
I didn't see any.
Who were they playing? I don't even have a clue.
Roma.
Oh, right, okay.
Europa League, but anyway.
It's hard to get to watch these matches these days.
The match on every night of the week, Sean.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing about COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll try it.
Yeah.
You there, Andy? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So we'll try with these. The best trainer within the Castlerahan team.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, the best trainer within the Castlerahan team.
The best trainer in the Castlerahan team. Yeah, no doubt it has to be Stephen Cooney. Definitely, the man lives, breathes, he eats football. God bless the woman that gets it. That's all I say.
Worst trainer.
Well, it's I suppose a throw between my own brother Fergal and Oisin O'Connell. Two of the late, I don't know. Anyway, well, they're lucky. They're very lucky. They're skillful. That's all I'd say.
The best dresser.
Best dresser. Oh, that's a good question. Brady's not bad there, and I suppose Paul Lukey isn't bad. So.
Worst dresser.
Worst dresser. Podgy McGarren, definitely.
And the big and the biggest Mammy's boy.
Biggest spice boy. Definitely Cormac Daly. 100%.
And last but not least, the longest in the shower.
Usually Ronan there.
I love that. And okay, so yourself, Sean, the best trainer.
Yeah, probably Stephen Cooney, I'd say. Yeah, he eats, sleeps, drinks football, so he does. There's lots of lads now, but yeah, probably Stephen.
Worst trainer.
I go with Oisin.
I thought you were going to say yourself.
I can't say myself. At the minute, I am anyway.
The best dresser, Sean.
Ginny Mac. I give Podge a little boost up there, so I will.
Ah, Jenny.
And the worst dresser, Sean.
Worst dresser. I seen Paul Lugie coming out in a few suspect shirts a few nights.
And the biggest mommy's boy.
Biggest Mammy's boy. Jenny Mac, I don't know. There's probably a whole team of Mammy's boys, I'd say.
And the longest in the shower.
There's no showers anymore with this COVID thing. Go home. Everyone's changing the side of the pitch and go home.
And okay, to finish up with the boss man, Ronan, the best trainer.
Yeah, Stephen Cooney, definitely, 100%.
Worst trainer.
As captain for a while, it was probably Fergal Flanagan.
Fergal.
Nothing poor about him.
Best dresser.
The best dresser. Who looks well? I suppose we give it to we give it to Enda there. Sure, he likes to look after himself.
He's the parent there, sure. A worst dresser.
Cormac Daly, definitely. Lots of white people.
Biggest mommy's boy, Ronan.
Biggest mommy's boy, probably myself.
And last but not least, the longest in the shower.
The longest in the shower, as Sean said, we haven't seen a shower in a long time. Oh sure, you could pick any of them. Shane Riley, pick Shane Riley for that one.
Very good, very good. Well, that's brilliant. Enda, Sean, Ronan, thanks a million for joining me on the JMac podcast. And of course, this podcast is sponsored by OrgaRetro.com. Check the website for all your retro gear needs and wants. Enda, Sean, Ronan, take it easy, boys. Enjoy the training on the tent. Sean and Ronan hopefully come back, and Enda, get them back. Thanks, boys, and look after yourselves.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, John.
All the best.
Thanks very much.